Well, as you can see by the teaser there, I got up nice and close to some swans. These two pairs of swans were out in the field just across the road from my place here, just as the snow was finishing the melting game. And I thought now is the opportunity to maybe fly around with the drone and see if I can get a little bit closer, because the last time I had a chance, you couldn't get very close before they were just up and gone. I thought, well, maybe I'll have a chance today to fly around and have a look at them. And so I got a little closer, and kind of just wanted to watch and see and get some cool drone footage of these majestic and massive birds. So they're out there in the stubble field walking around the mud looking for, I guess, little bits of grain that's left over and stuff like that. They really are a large bird, but you watch them walking in and waddling away in the mud. And I kept kind of trying to get a little bit closer and a little bit lower in elevation so they wouldn't get alarmed, but I wasn't sure when they would be nervous or not nervous. But they really, really are big birds. They're like, I don't know, got to be 4 times the size of a Canadian goose. This one here, the big golden head, I would think that is the cobs and hens, but then they start feeding. I'm like, well, I guess they're really not as nervous as I thought they might be. So I'm not really sure how many feet high in elevation I was. The drone has a pretty good zoom, but still, you can see that they're watching. So I would guess, I don't know, I'm not a swan expert. I think the golden head one is the male and the white head one is the female. But maybe I'm wrong and somebody else can straighten me out on that. Anyway, so then I just kind of looped around and watched them and just got a little bit closer. But you can see that I thought for sure that they would be just taken off, but they didn't seem to be too concerned about the drone itself. Their antics between each other, or how they fight or don't fight, you watch that a little bit. And how much food there is in that mud and dirt, I don't know, but obviously enough for a big bird like that to survive on. So get around to the far side so that the lighting is good, and then drop on the elevation and try to scoot in a little bit closer. I don't remember what was grown in this field last year, if it was wheat or some other type of grain. I don't recall. You see I'm getting closer enough now that you're like, you might be pushing the boundaries there, buddy. And they can watch as I loop around. But only that one has a real golden head. And I don't have any idea. Is that a sense of, is that age or youth? I don't know. I'm not a swan expert. But it was really cool to get this close. Like, you never get this close in real life, that's for sure. They're fairly cautious. And I thought, well, I'll follow them a little bit as they wander off a little bit to the northeast. And yeah, no, they're just nice birds. You can see that I got too close there where they kind of turn their heads and keep watching me. What am I supposed to say besides, stop talking so I can watch these things? But then they stop eating again, or start eating again. You're like, I guess they're really not that alarmed then if they'll stop and still eat. And another little bit where I get in close and drop, and then I think this is the time where he says, you're getting too close, buddy. And I couldn't tell how close I was either, but I better get the drone back up out of there before he knocks the drone silly and down into the mud or injures the bird, which should be worse. Anyway, that was probably the highlight of the flight there for me. I don't remember if I got that much close again, but you could get around and look at them. But what is there to eat? I certainly wouldn't be out there looking for food. When I was young, I read stories of swans, like the Hans Christian Andersen stories. I think he's the one that wrote The Ugly Duckling, right? But I didn't know that swans lived in Canada. I thought swans were a European bird. I had no idea. But here where we live on this side of the province in western Alberta there's thousands of them in the springtime. They nest all around here. Big old feet, standing there in the muck. They're quite the birds. Anyway, down a little bit lower. So the elevation, at this point, I'm basically the same elevation as they are. I'm not very tall. But to watch the swans up close, that's pretty cool. At least I thought it was. I hope you enjoyed watching. And they are a pleasant sounding bird as well. They're not like a real racket like some of the other wild birds that fly around. They make a real racket, where swans are much more of a majestic sounding thing. Anyway, I figured that was enough of that, so I let them go. Thanks for watching.